Getting a sponsor once is great, but getting them to renew year after year, that's where the real magic happens. If your sponsors aren't returning, it's not because they lost interest. It's because they didn't see enough value in what you're presenting to them or in what you executed the first time they supported you. So let's talk about the 5 key ways to building lasting sponsorship relationships and to really get in the habit of what it looks like to implement these tips and these strategies so that every sponsor that you onboard and you add to your ecosystem of supporters will be sustained and will be long-lasting relationships that will ultimately help you move the mission of your organization forward. Now, my name is Mariah Monique. I am the founder and the CEO of the Sponsorship Catalyst, and I teach nonprofit organizations such as yourselves how to navigate the sponsorship industry, how to prepare pitches, how to position themselves well, and really how to understand how to have conversations with sponsors so that you can increase your income, your revenue, as well as your partnerships. Now, before we move forward in today's video, I want you to like and subscribe to this channel so that the education can be broadly shared with other nonprofit leaders just like yourselves. Now, I am one who loves to share, who loves to make sure that people have education, they have the knowledge that they need to make informed decisions. So help me to move that mission forward in order to make sure that other nonprofits have what they need as they too serve the community at large. Now let's get into it. When we talk about the 5 key ways to build lasting partnerships with your sponsors and really taking it from that one-time transactional sponsorship to, hey, when is your next event? We want to sponsor it again. That's the kind of energy that you want to have from your sponsors. You want them to be ready to support you again. You want them to be ready to engage with you again. And you don't want them to die off after they've supported your event that one time. So I'm going to be sharing the 5 tips on what you should be considering, what you should be actually putting into play so that you can make sure that you are onboarding sponsors and you're keeping them. Like they say, it's harder to gain a customer than it is to maintain them. So just like in the business world, you got to think about that from the funding space as well. So the first thing is that you're going to want to deliver on every promise that you told that sponsor you were going to deliver on. I teach people this all the time. Never put in your sponsorship opportunities things that you cannot execute on. You don't have the infrastructure to execute. You don't have the capacity to execute. Maybe you don't even have the knowledge on executing. I have found that some nonprofits will Google search how to put together a sponsorship deck, and when they find one online, they'll put the brand benefits in what they see online without really truly thinking about the fact that you actually have to execute on those brand benefits should a sponsor decide, you know what, this is the package that I want, these are the benefits that I want to move forward. So you want to make sure that which you are pitching to sponsors, you actually have the capacity and infrastructure to execute on. And so when we talk about delivering on every promise, this really looks like making sure that you are executing well and with excellence and tracking and reporting on the sponsorship deliverables that you gave. Now, I really love to talk about this because just because you have a list of sponsor benefits for that one sponsor or however many you have, you also might want to add a little bit of extra, right? You may want to go beyond what the standard was. So for instance, if they had logo placement, if they had social media shout out, maybe they had an opportunity to add their item to your swag bag, whatever it looks like, you can find ways to add additional value. So maybe they only got 1 social media post, but you decided, I'm going to do 2 social media posts, giving that brand more exposure to what we're doing here at our event. Or maybe you decide, hey, they actually did not purchase any stage time, but I really value their loyalty to our organization, so I want them to give some 2-minute remarks. Or I would love for them to come on stage and introduce the next speaker. Being able to have some sort of time for them to also talk about their brand, their organization as well. So delivering on your promises and being able to track and report and monitor how you've executed those sponsorship deliverables, but also maybe how you added additional value that maybe the sponsor didn't pay for, but because you appreciate their partnership and what their partnership is allowing you to do in the community, you just add a little extra. The second thing is go beyond event day. Now, when we talk about going from one-time transactional sponsorships to sponsorship relationships that are recurring, you really want to keep sponsors engaged year-round with exclusive updates, but also touch points. You should always have touch points throughout the year. Now, the mistake I see a lot of nonprofits make are once they close the deal with a sponsor, they execute their event, they receive their check to be able to execute that. You never hear from that sponsor. You never hear from that organization again. And so this is not a good way to make sure that your sponsors are in a position to really make a deeper level connection with you beyond the one-time event. So part of this tip and this way is to really continually build in relationships with your sponsors so that there's some touch points. This can look like checking in with them biannually to say, hey, how has your sponsorship program changed? How have your goals changed? What is it that we can do to help you meet those goals? We've got X event and X opportunity coming up. How can you leverage our opportunities in order to be in a position to meet your goals? So you're going to want to think about things like that as well. The next thing is that you're going to want to personalize your thank yous. Handwritten notes are great. Appreciation videos go a long way. But you also want to make sure that as you're personalizing the requests and as you're personalizing thank yous to sponsors, you really want to think about what about their partnership made your event special? What about your partnership, the partnership that you have with them really helps you as an organization grow and serve the community at a greater scale and capacity? And really making sure that that is communicated to them throughout the year. It doesn't have to be after your event or before your event. It can be just several touch points as you work with your sponsorship gatekeeper, who will be the champion of your event and will help you navigate their job or their company internally so that those investments can flow to your organization and ultimately to the community that you serve. Now, the next one is you want to showcase impact. Now, if you're around me for any amount of time, I'm always going to talk about data. So you want to showcase impact. You want to prove and provide post-event reports that highlight the return on investment that that sponsor might have received. And you want to talk about the impact that you all have made together as a result of their partnership with you. How did it make the community feel? What did their sponsorship or their partnership with you allow you to do for the community? You want to be able to highlight those things. What did people say about the event? That's some of that qualitative testimonials that you want to really bring into the fold as you engage in these conversations, so sponsors also understand the impact that was made, but also the potential return on investment for them as you help them meet some of their goals and as you become the solution for the work that they're doing. Now, this is helping you. I want you to drop a note in the chat. Let me know what's resonating with you. Let me know where you might also maybe be falling short and need to make a few tweaks. I love hearing from you all. I love being able to understand where you all are in the sponsorship space, because it does help me create content that will be able to answer your questions so that you can take the steps that you need in order to be in the right direction. And if you want to confidently walk into any sponsorship meeting and know exactly what to say, my nonprofit event sponsorship accelerator will give you the step-by-step roadmap, templates, resources, understandings for you to be able to confidently do that. We cover everything from finding mission-aligned sponsors to crafting your perfect pitch or your sponsorship deck. So I want you to check the details down below, as we'll link them down below. And I want you to check it out if that's something that you're really, truly wanting to invest in 2025 and beyond. Now, the fifth tip I'm going to talk about is asking for feedback. This tip is really good in terms of turning those one-time sponsors into longer term partners is because you want to also be able to understand and assess, is this a partnership that's working well for them? You want to find out what worked, what didn't work, and how you can improve so that the partnership, the future of the partnership can be sustained, but it also can be better for both you, the organization, as well as the sponsoring party that is supporting the work that you're doing in the community. I find this really, really helpful so that you can be able to collaborate with your sponsor. And it's really like dancing. I mean, I think about sponsorships just like building a relationship with a friend or someone that you're interested in. You're wanting to understand, what do they like? What do they dislike? How can you serve them? How can you love on them, right? So when you're trying to get to know someone, just like you would be for your sponsor or the gatekeeper that you're communicating with, you're going to want to understand certain things, and asking for feedback along the way throughout the process is going to be very, very valuable so that you can make sure that you can continue to give your best. And it does help you stand out amongst the crowd of most nonprofits because people just don't ask for feedback. And so if you want to stand out amongst your peers, amongst organizations that do similar work to you or that serve similar communities as you, then you're going to want to make sure you're implementing these tips. Asking for feedback is going to be one of them for sure. I want to give you a challenge. If you've ever secured a sponsor in the past, but maybe you haven't talked to them or you've never followed up with them after your event, then I want to challenge you to shoot them an email solely just to connect with them. Learn about their program, how things have changed, what are their goals, how can you be of assistance and a solution to them being able to hit those goals, and really see if there's some advice that maybe they can give you for an event that maybe you're thinking about having. Sponsors love giving direction. They love giving advice on opportunities. And I think it's a great way for a nonprofit to say, after you've had that conversation with a sponsor, you can say, hey, well, is this something that X company would want to be a part of? Do you think that you all would value it, or do you think it would align with your internal goals? These are great ways to be able to connect with sponsors and create that opportunity to where you have turned that one-time transactional sponsorship into an opportunity that they might want to be a part of to elongate that partnership with them. I do believe that there are lots of nuggets shared in this video that I know that you can take and immediately apply to what you're doing and how you are connecting with sponsors. And again, if you take that challenge, trust me, I've worked with students in a nonprofit event sponsorship accelerator, literally doing this exact same thing, who were afraid to just connect with their previous sponsors because maybe the time had been so long, or maybe they just didn't feel ready to reach out to them. And let me tell you, the number of meetings that my clients and my students have been able to secure, even when they were not fully ready, but they were very intentional because of the coaching they received on how those conversations would go and what the purpose of those meetings were going to be. So I challenge you to connect with your previous sponsors, make that connection point, and just learn and just make sure you have an opportunity to be able to understand how their programs work and what their goals are in the coming year. Now, if you need help building a sponsorship strategy, go ahead and book a call with me and let's talk about your strategy. Let's talk about what you should be doing in 2025. Let's talk about how you should be navigating the space. Let's talk about what you're considering and what type of angles you should be going about securing the sponsors that are going to be best fit for the specific type of event and the specific type of organization and brand that you are leading. And of course, if you want to have full understanding of the sponsorship process and the sales cycle, and you really want to close the deals this year, then I want you to check out my nonprofit event sponsorship accelerator. In this accelerator, I am teaching you literally everything from beginning to end, what I like to call from seed to harvest, where you go from little to nothing or nothing at all, and you go through this process of really understanding how to harvest and how to really close those sponsorship deals, cultivating and maintaining those relationships, and implementing some of the tips that I shared in this video as well. And so if that's something that you're interested in, I want you to click the link below and consider enrolling into the accelerator. Now, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. But before I go, make sure you like, subscribe, and you hit the notification bell so you never miss a sponsorship strategy video that I'll be sharing. You all have an amazing day. Bye.